The Democrats' reckless 43-day government shutdown did manage to do one valuable thing. It proved that America does not need a federal Department of Education.
The Department of Education has entered into agreements to delegate some of its major offices and programs to other federal agencies. This, as Secretary Linda McMahon is calling for a hard reset and wants Congress to make those changes permanent. For more, let's bring in the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon. Thank you, Madam Secretary, for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Jackie. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's, a salient point that Caroline Leavitt makes, that the shutdown, showed that you don't need a Department of Education. There wasn't an impact to students and schools. But there has been some criticism of this push to have the Department of Education shuffle off responsibilities to the other agencies. The Washington State Superintendent, Chris Rakedahl, said these changes increase the number of federal agencies with oversight of K-12 education fivefold, undoubtedly creating confusion and duplicity for the educators, administrators, and families across the nation who engage with ED staff regularly. What do you say to that? Is there anything to the idea that if you take these responsibilities and you put them in 5 other agencies, that now the schools and the educators have to deal with 5 agencies instead of 1?
Well, good morning, and thanks for having me very much this morning. And by the way, belated happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Now, actually, this is not a back-of-the-envelope whimsical plan that we are doing. And this is not something that we've already said, okay, this is the way all this is going to work. We have done one IAA interagency agreement so far. That was with the Department of Labor. We did that weeks ago before the shutdown because it was a small group that was going over it. We detailed about 13 personnel over to the Department of Labor, and it was to work on WIOA grants and to the Perkins Act grants to see, we wanted to make sure it worked. They have a more sophisticated system of technology than we do. We've already drawn down 200 grants, delivered them to 35 states, and I would venture to guess that those states didn't know where that funding was actually flowing through and coming back to them, because that is the goal, and that is to make sure they get their money in a more efficient way. The new 6 that we announced just last week was that there would be 2 more going to labor, and a big chunk of what is now at the Department of Education would go over to labor K through 12. But it's just a matter of pass-through of funding. It is not policy. It is not curriculum decisions. It is not hiring teachers or books. Education does not do that. So we are moving these plans, but we've not actually flushed out those plans yet. We've signed the agreements. Now we will start the process of the talk and how it will actually work and how many we would detail to that. And so that process will be ongoing, and I call it proof of concept. Let's make sure it works. Let's get the feedback. Let's see how many personnel we need to have in those areas. Let's see how we work with these different departments in integrating their employees as well. It's like a merger would happen. It will operate more efficiently, at least that is the proof of concept. And if all of that works how I am hopeful, and I believe it will work efficiently, hopefully then Congress will vote to codify those changes to be permanent.
So you're saying that you'll be receptive if it really is hard for the schools to figure out who to go to get this funding, that you'll be receptive to that and factor that in?
The schools will have less.
The states, excuse me.
I'm sorry, the states. The states will have less requirements because more money in the vision, more money will go in block grants to the states, who will just submit a state plan to a particular agency. This will be less bureaucracy. This will be less regulation. This will give states innovation. States will determine when they need to take that money. And, the Title 1, 2, 3, and 4 funding that will go more in a block grant. And if a state says, I need more money here, or I need more money for IDEA funding over here, they then have the flexibility to spend and use that money. And it'll work so much better. It'll take the bureaucracy out of it. Look, I have called for a hard reset of education because we have failed our students. We've spent $3 trillion since the Department of Education was set up, and we have seen our scores continually to decline. And we need a renaissance in education.
On that point, I want to show the nation's report card to our audience because the 2024 passing scores were not good. In grade 4, you had only 31% proficiency in reading, 39% in math. Grade 8 was 30% in reading, 28% in math. What is being done to help the kids? Because these are not good numbers.
Well, what's happening is we have some states who have been incredibly innovative. We see the Mississippi Miracle, it was called. They reintroduced the science of reading, followed by Louisiana, who has accepted that as well. We've seen their scores go up. Florida, Iowa, Tennessee. But these are not federally directed programs. These are not federal innovations. They are innovations at the state level. So what I am doing is touring all 50 states. I'm visiting all different kinds of schools. I'm talking to governors, superintendent, teachers, parents. What we want to do is to put together a toolkit of best practices to say, here are things that are working. Pick and choose from these how you think they might be innovated. And trust me, governors are pretty competitive. State superintendents, very competitive. They don't like where their scores are, and when they see Louisiana doing so well, Mississippi doing so well, scores coming up, they want to emulate that or improve on it or put their own spin on it. But good for them. Let teachers teach. Let states be innovative. Take this bureaucracy out of Washington. Who's better to do that? Me, sitting in an office as a bureaucrat in Washington, or those people on the ground working with those students and those teachers every single day? And I urge all of our parents, be involved. Go to school board meetings, elect school boards, run for school boards. Pay attention to what your students and your kids are doing in class.
Well, you're making a very solid effort at putting yourself out of a job, as the president asked you to do. So,
yes.
Madam Secretary, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.